Good morning my dear friends, welcome you all to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to see the requirement of some additional required information in the NFPA, and there are some change of rules in NFPA last edition which you maybe or might not have checked. So let's start with the basic requirement of NFPA and then I will show you the discussion points. So first of all, as per NFPA 13 and 25, we need to have some spare sprinklers for all the projects. Because if any sprinkler activate during fire condition or it has the damage that we see during the inspection, or otherwise if it needs replacement, then we can do it very fast because we have the extra spare sprinklers. So this one practically it will avoid the building shutdown. And the requirement for this list of cabinets first appeared in NFPA 13 2007 edition. And we need to have the spare for all type of sprinklers used in the building. Like if we have pendant, upright, ESFR, CMSA, then we need to have the stock for all the sprinklers. Also, we need to consider the temperature rating, K factor, etc. So in your project, if you have sprinkler like under 300 sprinklers, then you have to provide minimum 6 sprinklers. Okay, 6 type of sprinklers. For example, there's same like 300 to 1000 sprinklers. Then you have to provide no fewer than 12 sprinklers as a spare. And for over 1000 sprinklers in the project, you need to have like no fewer than 24 sprinklers. Then NFPA 13 specifies some minimum requirements in the spare list, like what you see here. It should be the sprinkler identification number, SIN number, then general description, quantity of each type to be contained in the cabinet, then issue or revision date of the list. Okay, so the first one is the sprinkler identification number, SI number. So right bottom you can see the image here. So here they have mentioned like SIN number, like you see in this email table, the TY9128. In this one, the TY it indicates the tyco, and 9128 it has the model number. Okay. Then this sprinkler general description, you can see it is an extended coverage sprinkler and it has the K factor of K25 and it's upright type. After that we can see the temperature rating, it's 155 degree Fahrenheit, and sprinkler quantity maintained here is 6 number. So these are the basic information we have to provide in the sprinkler list. So now let's come to the point. So here the question is, NFPA list has some information, especially the SIN number, sprinkler identification number, which tell you the exact make and model and the temperature rating. So with the SIN number and the temperature, can you replace the sprinklers correctly if there is a damage in the sprinkler system? So I feel one piece of information is missing, and that is needed to order the correct replacement sprinklers. So let's see what is that. So in my project, I have sprinklers with the K factor 5.6 and the temperature rating 155 degree Fahrenheit. It's a quick response and standard coverage. It is used in one building, and the same type I am using in the other corrosion area. So as you know that sprinklers installed in corrosion area must be corrosion resistant. For example, if you see a Viking VK3021, it's a quick response pendant sprinkler. It is available in different finishes like brass, chrome, white polyester, black polyester and ENT. But only white polyester, black polyester and ENT are UL listed for corrosion resistant application, and only ENT is FM approved for the corrosion resistant purpose. So you can see two type sprinkler. The one sprinkler is with stainless steel and the another one is ENT, electroless nickel PTFE coated. And as you know, some sprinklers have different have specific finishes that are listed for corrosion resistant, and this feature is very important in certain environments and can actually change the lifespan of sprinklers. So assume that there is a sudden leakage in a sprinkler used in corrosion area, and you see the sprinkler spare cabinet where you have similar type sprinkler but with the different finishes, like for example you have brass finishes. And for that project, suppose you are using Viking VK3021 and you have only brass finish. That brass finish is not approved for using in the corrosion resistant environment, and that is not approved in FM approved, and it doesn't have the UL listed. So what you will do in this situation? You have to order the new one with which has the corrosion resistant approval from the Viking, and you have to close the zone control one, the nearest to zone control one, and you have to wait till the suitable sprinkler comes for the installation. So what I feel is, why not we add the finish on the sprinkler list? It avoids confusion in every case, especially if we have head that needs corrosion resistance. So this is in my mind. So please add your comment in the comment section for what you think about this condition. So the second one is, as per NFPA 25, standard sprinklers require testing and replacement at 50-year mark. For example, you have seen here that you can see the table I have taken from NFPA 25. So here what they mentioned, where sprinklers have been in service for 50 years, they shall be replaced, or the sample from one or more area should be tested. Okay, this is for the standard sprinkler. And similar way, if you go to ESFR, and here in this table, sprinklers fast response like ESFR needed initial testing at 20 years. After that, every 10 years testing is required. And same like other thing, like if you go to harsh or corrosive environments, so that one the needed testing at 5 years. Okay, like what you see here. So NFPA 25 specifies 1% of number of sprinklers or minimum 4 sprinklers should be tested. So if you have 1000 sprinklers, similar type of sprinklers in your project, so you have to test minimum 1%. That means 10 sprinklers. So now let's consider you have a very big project, and the sprinklers quantity and types of sprinklers information can be found by checking the original plant documents. Like you have to verify the drawings, material submittal, like material safety data sheet, and the BOQ quantity, etc. To finalize the quantity and type of sprinklers. For example, if documents are not available due to very old project, okay, then it can be obtained through a detailed site survey. That means you have to perform the detailed site survey, and you have to verify one by one, okay, to finalize the this requirement. That time, this is a very lengthy and like a time consuming process. So what I feel here is, along with the normal NFPA sprinkler spare list that is up to this point, please add 2 more points, like a number of sprinklers in the system. That means we have to mention the quantity for the project, like all the type of sprinklers quantity here, and initial installation date, okay, for all type of sprinklers, along with the last case when we discuss the type of finish. So, okay, so this is my point of view. This will be this will increase the work accuracy, and also it will save the time also. So again, if you feel this information is okay, please don't forget to put your comment in the comment section, because I believe this information is very easy to provide in the very initial stage of the completion project. Well, this information may not provide an immediate benefit. Whoever is responsible for the system, for example your maintenance team, will get good benefit from this one. So the next one is regarding the change of an important rule in NFPA. So let's assume we have a condition like, after the installation of sprinklers, if by mistake any paint is applied during the finishing of architectural works, for example after completion of the work, our civil team, like they will do the finishing works in the ceiling, okay, so that time by mistake the paint is applied over the sprinkler, okay, so that sprinkler must be replaced as per NFPA 13. Because as you know, NFPA 13 will not accept any paint other than the manufactured paint in the sprinkler. So now there is a big changes in the rule. So let's see what is that. So before we finalize the new language, like let's look at various new edition of NFPA 25 says. So first one is, as per section 5.2.1.1 in all edition, the fire sprinkler must be visually inspected from the floor level, okay, for signs of damage. So this should be done every year. So the NFPA 25 needs, so this is NFPA 25 2014 edition. In here what they have mentioned, we have to verify the leakage, the corrosion, the physical damage, the loss of fluid in the glass bulb. I mean the heat responsive element. You can see the glass bulb in the sprinkler, that one, and the loading and the painting. So these are the 6 things we have to verify as per NFPA 25 2014 edition. So now you mainly focus on 3 points, that is the corrosion, the loading, and the painting. Okay, so corrosion and paint are easy to understand, but the term loading is a difficult term that can refer to various substances that cover a sprinkler, like it may be a dirt, dust, or grease, etc. So in any case, a literal interpretation of the 2014 standard is that finding any corrosion, loading, or aftermarket painting that triggers replacement. Okay, this edition simply says that corrosion, loading, and painting issue in the sprinkler, then the sprinkler must be replaced. But you people know that if I need to change the sprinkler in the wet sprinkler system, I need to drain that line. Means I need to close the nearby zone control wall. Then I need to drain that complete line. It's a very lengthy and time consuming process. And also you know that a small paint on the sprinkler will not affect the performance. Okay, but NFPA is strictly say that we have to change the sprinkler. So earlier we saw 2014 edition, and this one is 2017 edition of NFPA 25. And here you can note on the same 3 points the corrosion, but here they have added detrimental to sprinkler performance, similar way the loading detrimental to sprinkler performance, but in the paint there is no change. So NFPA 25 2017 and 2020 edition of NFPA 25 acknowledge that a little bit of corrosion and loading can be okay, but the paint rule remains the same. Now let's see what NFPA 13 says. So NFPA 13 2022 edition says that sprinklers that have been painted in the field, okay, however slightly, so this is the important point, must not be cleaned up, paint and reused, so that must be replaced with the new sprinklers. So the watts, however slightly, now tells the story. So initially no paint tolerated, but now the latest 2023 edition of NFPA 25, it has some relaxation, same like the corrosion and loading. So what you can see here is for the paint, and here they added the point detrimental to sprinkler performance. Okay, so here we are, a little paint, corrosion and loading can be okay in certain cases, but how to decide? Who is going to decide for this one? So we need to see one small and important basic to decide this condition. So as you know, the first one, the deflector, which is located here, the deflector that directs and shapes the spray of the water. That means it makes the pattern for the water. And second thing, a heat sensitive element. That means you know that it's maybe a fusible link or the bulb. Okay, so that triggers activation. And third one is a sealing assembly. That means at this point. Okay, so this point, a sealing assembly with a plug that blocks the water, and the fourth one is a frame. That means this one, the frame, the surrounding arrangement here. So in the frame, it made of two arms that houses all these components. So this frame is acting like a structural support to hold the deflectors. So based on NFPA 25 section A 5.2.1.1.1, they focuses on three main components, and they believe that these three main components only affect the performance of the sprinkler. So like you see here, insulating the heat sensitive element, blocking up the seal assembly, disrupting the water spray pattern, that means the deflector. So if you see the paint or corrosion buildup in the sprinkler heat sensing element, I mean the bulb, it will affect the performance. So similarly for the flushed sprinkler, the paint on the cover plate of sprinkler, that will also affect the performance. You know that the cover plate will not fall down, so activation of sprinkler is difficult. So the second one is blocking the seal assembly. So the second one, if paint or dust that blocks the sealing assembly, again it will affect the performance problem. So what I mean here is, so at this point, so the sealing assembly at this point, so if any blocks in this one, like what we saw here, like the paint or some type of arrangements like this one, so like this, so it will affect the sprinkler performance. And the third one is any issue in the sprinkler deflector, like what you see here, the bended one. So any issue in the sprinkler deflector will completely affect the pattern of water. Then you know that the sprinkler coverage area and everything will be collapsed. So these are the items which is affecting the performance of the sprinkler. So any corrosion, paint and loading in these items is really not accepted. So the next question is, then what is acceptable point? So NFPA 25 has a very good explanation for this. Sprinklers having limited corrosion, loading or paint in location on the sprinklers that are not expected to impact the operation or water distribution characteristics. Okay, so this is the important thing. So we can say that one like a safe zone. So the one specific point you can see in the sprinkler, that is the sprinkler frame. Okay, so as I mentioned, they include the frame that hold the operating components and the base of the sprinklers. Okay, so these are structural for the sprinkler, playing no direct role in the heat sensitive activation or water flow. So a small amount of paint or loading or corrosion should not affect the sprinkler performance. That means if any paint or corrosion or loading in a very small amount is we can see in the, if you see in the that frame, then it is acceptable. We don't need to change the sprinkler. So finally, the decision about what is acceptable should be made by a qualified fire sprinklers professional. That means you know that NFPA 25, there is a separate certification called Certified Sprinkler System Specialist as per NFPA 25, and it's subject to the approval by the authority having jurisdiction. So finally, I have given two important recommendation and one updates in the NFPA rule. So if you need similar type of video, please add your comment in the comment section. So thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe.